We're here on the Mount of Olives looking over Jerusalem. You can look in the background and see the Temple Mount. You see the Dome of the Rock from the Mount of Olives. This was originally just a mountain higher up than the original city of David. Solomon built the first temple there. Hezekiah did some reconstruction and seems to have squared it off into a platform. Herod the Great greatly expanded it into the size that it is today, rectangular in shape. The city of David, the original Jerusalem, is off to the left and down to the left of the road there, sloping down. And today, of course, that is all Islamic up there. You can go up there and walk around if you're there at the right time on the right day. The Dome of the Rock sits where the temple used to stand. And if you look in that area, that is where the church started, up there on the platform, where those trees are and the paving areas. That is where Acts chapter 2 took place. That is where Paul was arrested later on in the book of Acts, in the beginning of his journey that took him to Rome as a prisoner. Jesus taught up there. He performed miracles up there. He drove out money changers up there. Everything in the temple area occurred right there, where you see it. This is from the Mount of Olives. And maybe one more significant point. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus and his disciples had come out and had come up on the Mount of Olives. And the Bible says that the disciples were looking at the buildings of the temple, admiring them. And Jesus he gave a prophecy. He said, "I tell you, there's a time coming when not one stone will be left upon another. All will be destroyed." And we go on and have the rest of that discussion and some of the events that were to come. All that took place from this same view. This was the view of the temple that the disciples and Jesus had when they had that discussion in Matthew 24. This is the Temple Mount. This is where the Jewish temple was, where Acts chapter 2 took place. Back here, this is not the entire thing. You're just seeing a small part of it here. But we're roughly where the temple was. If you look back here, you can see a green door back there. That is the southern wall from Herod's time, from Jesus' time. It was a big platform, originally just Mount Moriah, where Abraham bound Isaac. This was the temple area in the time of the New Testament. And down there was the southern edge. And the city of David, the old city, is just beyond that. If you come around here, you can see what stands here as a central thing today is the Dome of the Rock. This building was built in the 600s after Christ and has been here ever since. It's Islamic, of course. Inside is bedrock, which according to tradition is where Abraham bound Isaac. But also, it is probably on the exact spot or overlaps the spot where the temple stood in Jesus' time. It's speculated that in the rock inside here, we can't go in, unfortunately, it's been closed off for years, but inside there's a bedrock there with a rectangular niche that maybe it held the Ark of the Covenant. That may have been the Holy of Holies. That's speculation, of course. But this was the temple in Jesus' time. We're probably standing in what was a priestly area, restricted back 2,000 years ago to anyone but Levites. If you go on down here, you can get more of an idea of the length of it. That is not the far end. The Temple Mount goes further than you can see, beyond those trees there. If you look over here, you'll see an edge with a Mount of Olives behind it. And maybe you can make out all the trees, perhaps if the angle's correct, some golden domes. That's where Gethsemane was. This is where the church began, 2,000 years ago.